Conservative new media viewers, JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFA Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss the Brooklyn Nets loss tonight, 112-97 against the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City, Utah. The Jazz improved to 38-24 on the season. The Brooklyn Nets fall to 10-50 on the year, including 3-26 away from Barclays Center. What happened in this game was that the Utah starters were better than Brooklyn starters, and that was primarily the difference in this game. Brooklyn's bench did a really nice job in this contest, and Utah shot the ball really well. They had a good assist-to-turnover ratio, about 2-1, whereas Brooklyn's assist-to-turnover ratio was 1-1. There just wasn't enough ball movement for the Nets. They didn't shoot the ball really well. They didn't play good enough defense. The Jazz shot the ball really well. And in the quarters where the starters played more, which is the first and the third quarters, Brooklyn was outscored by 12 points in the first quarter and 9 points in the third quarter. And that pretty much did them in. And the Jazz were favored in this game by 13.5 points. And so they ended up winning by 15 points. So they beat the spread. All that being said, I still like the way the Nets played in this game. The Jazz were playing carefree most of this game. Like they expected to win, and it wasn't a big deal. They're very good at home, 21-12 on the season. But the Nets fought them pretty much the entire way in this game. And what you can see with the Nets, and this isn't a surprise, given how much they rely on their bench, but they can always come back on teams. And that's because they have so much depth, they play at such a fast pace, and they score a pretty good amount of points that no game is ever completely over for the Nets, unless it's like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter and they're down 20 or something like that, because they are capable of coming back. We also got to see in this game a little bit of KJ McDaniels and Andrew Nicholson, so that was nice. Both starting to get a little bit of time. Let's talk about Jeremy. Jeremy had 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He played 16 minutes, shot 3 of 7 from the field, including 1 of 2 from three-point range. No free throw attempts, no steals, no blocked shots, 3 turnovers, 5 personal fouls, and his plus-minus was a -13. Jeremy had kind of a so-so game tonight. And the guy that he was playing against, George Hill, had a huge game tonight. This is probably about as tough of a game as you will see Jeremy have at this point in his career. In terms of just, the other guy did really great. He didn't do so hot. Jeremy did only play 16 minutes, though. That has to be noted. He started the fourth quarter, and then he came out about midway through the fourth quarter, and he never came back. My guess is that Coach Atkinson thought the game was over, and just, okay, we'll just rest Jeremy because the team's playing again tomorrow night. And so you want to get guys whatever rest you can get them when you have back-to-back games. That's my guess about what happened. I'm not sure. I don't think it was any punishment or Jeremy didn't play well or any of that. I don't think that's what it was. I think it was more the let's rest him up for tomorrow and the game might be over type of thing. However, like I said, I liked the energy that the Nets played with. They started out the game flat. I will say that. They did start the game with lower energy, and that hurt them badly. And as I said, they were outscored by 12 points in the first quarter, and you take that away, and this game was very even. But the bench came in, they started to turn the tide, and they kind of got it right. But Utah's a difficult place to play. It's one of the toughest places to play in the entire NBA. And you have altitude. It's like 4,000 feet. I looked that up between the last video and this one. And so it's close to a mile. And their crowd is really into it. And it's just a difficult venue to get a win in. So unfortunately, they weren't able to get a win tonight. But I thought that the team fought hard. They didn't kind of get down on themselves. They just missed shots, and they had some things going against them. And Utah played, like I said, like they were playing a practice or something. Like it seemed like they had no pressure on them, and they could hit whatever shots they needed to hit. So some nights are like that. And as I've said, Utah is a good team. They are a good team. They're not an elite team, but they're probably like the level below that. They're a good team. And that's what they played like tonight. Plus, they also have a shot blocking center in Rudy Gobert. That makes things harder for Jeremy, because Jeremy likes to get to the rim. If you put a shot blocker back there, it's harder to do it. And so this is kind of what you get. But like I said, given everything, given that it was a 15-point loss, given that Jeremy didn't have a big night, I still like what I saw. And the thing is, this type of a game can be a good thing to build from. It gives you an idea of where you're at if you're Jeremy Lin. And remember, Jeremy's just coming back from the leg injury. And this is only his 14th game of the season. So he's still kind of finding his way around. One thing, I looked up Jeremy's stats last night, and he's having an excellent season. Coming into this game, he was shooting about 37% from three-point range, and he shot 50% tonight, so that'll probably go up a little bit. He's right around his best three-point shooting ever for any season. His field goal percentage is really good. Coming into the game was like 47%, so he's doing really well. He's coming along nicely, even though obviously he would have liked to have played more games this year. I guess what I'm trying to say is, in total, Jeremy, his development is coming along really well, including his three-point shooting, which was the main thing he worked on last summer, and that he wanted to kind of show that he could do this year. Well, he's showing it, and that's good, and the team is developing. And in a game like this, you do get a little chance to see KJ McDaniels. You do get a little chance to see Andrew Nicholson. And Coach needs to do that. Coach is definitely trying to win. He is. But when the game gets a little out of hand, or you still need to check out these new players and see what they can do. It was great to see Quincy Acey play as well as he did for 18 points. Remember, he's gone for a while with his sprained ankle. Now the team is at full health, although it should be mentioned that Joe Harris hit his head in this game and hit it hard, and I don't think he came back after that. So he might have to go through the concussion protocol, so the roster might not be at full health for very long, depending on how Joe Harris is feeling. Also, I believe that Karis LeVert, his foot was bugging him at the end of this game, or near the end, so hopefully he's had foot surgery. Hopefully that's not a problem. So a couple guys might have gotten dinged up a little bit today. Hopefully they'll be able to go tomorrow night. We will see. But having a healthy roster has certainly made this team a lot better. And hopefully we'll be able to keep it relatively healthy heading into these final stretch of games, these final 22 games or so. Like I said, though, I'm really not disappointed by this game. I thought the team played hard. I thought they played smart. They just missed some shots. I mean, they were 7 of 29 from 3, which is terrible. It's 24%. That's horrible. They had some good looks. They just missed them. But I do not think that the team ever gave up. I thought that they competed as hard as they could. Utah was just on their game, and the Brooklyn was not on their game, particularly in the first quarter. And Jeremy, like I said, he just had his outing wasn't that bad. It's just that George Hill did really, really good. So it makes Jeremy look worse in comparison. But, you expect that when someone's coming back from as much time away as Jeremy's had this year, you're going to have games like this. Not every game is going to be amazing, particularly against a team that is so good on defense as Utah is. I think Utah has the third best defensive efficiency in the league. They shut teams down. and they did a pretty decent job of putting the clamps on Jeremy and the Nets tonight. And so this is what you get. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like the blowouts earlier in the year. The blowouts earlier in the year were like, you felt hopeless. Like you never knew. It's just the same thing game after game. This didn't have that type of a feeling. This had a feeling like the Nets came in, they competed hard. You can see some things. They missed some wide open shots that they're going to hit on other nights. And okay, all right, we can live with this. So that's pretty much my take for tonight's game. Let's talk about tomorrow night's game. As we said, the Nets are playing a back-to-back. They'll be playing in less than 24 hours from when I'm making this video. That game will take place tomorrow, March 4th, Saturday, here in the United States. It will be against the Portland Trail Blazers in Portland, Oregon. And that is scheduled to take place at 10 p.m. Eastern Time here in the USA. Portland is a team that has fallen below the expectations for it this year. I don't know. Nobody expected them to be a great team, but I definitely think a lot of people felt they were going to make the playoffs. And as of right now, Portland is in 9th place in the West. They would be outside of the playoffs if the playoffs started today. Portland is a team that is heavily reliant on offense, and they play very little defense. In that regard, they're kind of like the Nets. They're like a better offense version of the Nets. So I would expect that tomorrow night's game should be a lot of running and gunning, high scoring. Portland will have the edge because they're rested and Brooklyn is not. Brooklyn played tonight and Portland didn't. But it's definitely a game that the Nets should be able to compete in, particularly if Karis LeVert and Joe Harris are able to play. We'll have to see. I don't know what the status is of those two guys going into tomorrow, but it's the type of game that sets up pretty well for Brooklyn. It's a run and gun, shoot 'em out game, and that's the type of way that Brooklyn likes to play. I would think that Brooklyn is deeper than Portland is. But although Portland is used to playing that style, so maybe even if they're not quite as deep, they might have the conditioning to be able to play that way and not get too fatigued. I'm looking forward to it. It should be good. If you're Jeremy, you get to get back out there, put this game out of your mind. Let's go for the next game and see if we can kind of improve upon what happened tonight. Although tomorrow you're going to be going against a very good player in Damian Lillard. So it's not necessarily going to get easier for Jeremy in terms of his defensive assignment. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I feel fine. I feel as good as you can feel in a situation like this when the team lost by 15 points. It's just one of those nights. Utah had it going, and Brooklyn didn't, particularly early on, and it cost them. But they handled themselves well. They didn't give up. And, okay, let's move on to the next game. And I'm glad we got a chance to look at guys like KJ McDaniel and Andrew Nicholson. That is it for now. Hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. We will talk to you again in about 24 hours from now as the Brooklyn Nets head to Portland, Oregon to take on the Trail Blazers there.